Are we beginning? Ah, yeah. Let's begin. Hi, this is Geoffrey, and this is for the Yapas. It was actually known like as Story by Geoffrey, but we rebranded to for the Yapas because again we've got clarity and such things. And I'm actually glad that we are back because I have been stalling this idea for the longest, and I'm actually glad that we're here. It has taken so much courage, so much work really. I think so much courage and so much believing in yourself for me to be here. And I want to start this pod with the questions that I asked my friends to send in, that if we were ever in the same podcast, they'll ask me or they'll have me answer. And some of them sent, wengine bado wakasema they will be sending in, and some sent questions that are meant for the second episode or the next. And I'll answer the ones that fit for this episode, then the rest I'll answer the coming episodes with one or two people in the set. So I hope you enjoyed this episode or this journey, and you can be sure to welcome anybody else to this podcast. So the first question is, what is the podcast? What the podcast is? So for the Yapas, but just by the name, how the name goes, you're able to tell what this podcast is. It's for people who talk and they never seem to stop. And I'm one of them, and I can talk. And I really wanted to name it for the Yapas because I felt like people who talk and they get misunderstood, or they don't get the niche they want in the society, or people think that too much, or they talk too much, or they may end up judging them, and it's not good. So I created this to create a safe space for the people who feel like they talk too much. And it's not a bad thing to talk because we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and maybe talking is one of our strengths. So if you feel like you talk too much and you don't get space to talk too much, this is your podcast. You're free to join this podcast, or you're free to subscribe and feel as part of this family. The next question, who it is for. I think this question I've already answered it. I'll tell you another question here, so I'll mark them. This podcast is meant for those who are thought of to be like overthinkers or something, and those who never seem to be quiet because anything that bothers them, they have to speak. I'm one of those people that kitu kinibother, I must speak. Hata kama ni how many days later or not instantly, I must speak about it, because I feel like nitawashwa to the whole time if I don't speak. Yeah, I have to speak so that I can be at peace. Yeah. The next thing is, why am I continuing this podcast? Have I told you? This podcast was known as For the Yapas previously, and now it was known as Story. Sorry, it was known as Story by Geoffrey, and now I'm rebranding to For the Yapas. I'm continuing it because I've been having this tag for the longest time to continue my podcast, because I felt like I started something and I can't let it go halfway, or I can't just give up. And there has been a constant push for me to continue this thing from my friends, but the biggest bug was in me, because I felt like I really need to do this, even if it does not end anywhere. At least I give it a try. Yeah. The next thing is, what do you intend to achieve with the podcast? I really haven't looked so much into the future, but what I tend to achieve is to create a safe space for people like me who talk too much, or who people think we talk too much, or and people people to feel safe, because the world can be cruel to some people and judge people wrongly. But I want people to understand that people can talk and still be humans, because we can't all be the same. Tunaweza kuwa watu different na to exist in the same world. Yeah. The next question is, how do I intend to achieve the above? Just by being here, we'll have already achieved some things, because I guess this content will go out to people, even if it doesn't get to me 1 million people or 1,000 people or 200 people. Kuna mtu atasikiza hii podcast na ajue like, kumbe I'm not alone in this world. And just alone by shooting these videos, it's already evidence enough that I'll achieve this. Yeah. How prepared are you for negativity? Now, this is the thing that made me stall for the longest time because I felt like, am I going to handle negativity? But I don't have to think too much about that because again, we are people. There's no day you'll avoid negativity even at your workplace, at home, with your friends, because there's always people who are negative around you, and there's nothing you can do about that because again, they're people, and it's up to you to just brace yourself or develop a thick skin. Like one good example that I have lived to see myself grow is that during my primary years or high school years, I used to be bullied a lot because of my appearances, my characters, and my personality in general. But right now, the things that you tell me, and they're not going to bother me because I've already developed a thick skin. Back then, I could cry, I could feel sorry for myself, I could do many things. But right now, I think I've developed a thick skin that has enabled me to know these are people, and not to allow the negative things to get into my mind or in me. And that's how we survive, because you cannot take everything in. You'll die. You die early, at an early age. Yes, how will I ensure fame never changes my values? Now, the other day I was speaking to somebody who I presume to be wise, and akaniambia, like, until you've lived something, you can never say if it never happened to me, or I can never do that, or I can never do this. Until you've lived it, I can handle this. So I'd rather not say that start change. Maybe I'll change, but I hope it's for the better and not for the worse, because I want to have my values as a person and not be influenced by any other person in this world. I just want to stand for what I believe is right. But there's room for change, for the better growth of my brand or myself or the people around me. We wait and see what will happen. Yeah. So the next question is, how do I intend to handle setbacks? I want to say, with the little life that I've lived so far, I'm 26 years old, and the little life I've lived, I want to believe I've faced so many setbacks. I've cried in most of I have cried in most of them, but I end up finding ways how to solve the setbacks, and we move, because life is not a straight line. You know, experiences a bit to question yourself. Life might not be moving well on your side. So I don't know. I think I better say this way, that we'll cross the bridge when you get there. When shida imekuja ama the setback has come, we'll handle it there, because I can't promise anything. We are never ready for anything. We are never ready for loss. We're never ready for arguments. You're never ready for anything in this world. So until you experience it, tutajua how to handle it. So how am I going to challenge the society, or things that I'm going to challenge in the society? One of my first goals is to challenge the fact that, or the norm that, men cannot be emotional, or men cannot cry, or men cannot be in touch with their feelings. That's one thing that I have experienced in my life, because I'm an emotional person, and most of the men I've experienced are not in touch with their emotions. They want to be heard, they want you to be subdued, and I seem not to be cut out of that, because I don't know how to be heard myself. I am so emotional, and I'm in touch with my feelings, and it's high time the society views men as people, because when the society says that men cannot be emotional, it means they view men as robots or something that are not in touch with their feelings. Like, we have to do things like we don't have feelings. And that's one of the things that I want to challenge in the society, and allow men, to be human, because we can't have a balanced society if men cannot be human, or cannot be allowed to be men, because men cannot cry. That's one thing I was told. I've been told for the better part of my years, that men cannot cry, men cannot show emotions. That's one of the things that I want to challenge in the society. The other thing is that I want to see that both genders are treated equally. I don't want to see a society where men are treated, or women are treated better than men, or men are treated better than women, even the boy child or the girl child. I want a balance. I don't know. I'm going to do my best in this platform, or wherever my level best, to make this happen. But even if I don't get there, at least I'll have done the least I could. What is my target group? Now, my target group basically is, I'll tell you with the second question that was asked, that who this pod is for. And I tend to think it's for overthinkers, the people who are perceived as they talk too much. Men, specifically men. I want men to come up and be themselves and be human and allow emotions to flow in them and cry. Do the things that wanaambiwa sisi wanaume, and I think that will help the world heal, because we'll have people and not robots in the long run. Yeah. So how my mind works. This is the other question that I was asked. I don't know. My mind works in a very exciting way. I don't know how to frame it, but I tend to think my mind is, I think with my emotions most of the time, but before I act on it, what do I do? I sit with whatever is happening to my mind in that situation. I reflect a lot. That's what I'm looking for. I reflect a lot before I do something, because I've realized in the past I used to make decisions with my emotions, and I end up failing or not making the right decisions. But that's not to say that my decisions were bad or wrong. It was just not needed at that time, or in that period. Maybe it will have worked out later, but not at that period. And I'm just learning not how to act or react immediately. I'm just learning how to reflect things before I make a decision or I act. Yeah, that's how my mind works. What people can expect here, people so much. You can expect so much, and I want to believe that we will learn, we will help each other grow, we'll create a safe space for people to be who they are, and without judging them or without make them feel a some type of way, and people can create a better world. Like Michael Jackson said, it all begins with you. Yeah. So that's it for today, and be sure to subscribe, bring your friends, and those who think we love this. Have a good day. Bye. I don't have any time. Okay?